Здравствуйте, товарищи, and welcome to 2015, as this is really my first major communication of 2015. So I wanted to take some time to talk about what's been going on and the fact I've been just completely off the radar for the last, pretty much since Christmas is over and the new year has begun. Suffered a little bit of a setback in the early parts of this year, and I just kind of want to talk about what happened, what it means, and what's going on. So about 10 days ago, I unfortunately was laid off from the job I'm working at. I had been working at for the last, pretty much 20 months now. And it was quite a shock, to be honest, because it was something I wasn't expecting to happen. So what happened, and I haven't really talked about kind of the specifics, is that in September-ish, late August, September area, the guy who had hired me actually he left the dealership I was working at, and he went to go manage another one in a significantly bigger one in the States. And then they brought in a new guy, right? So there was a change of ownership. And when the new guy took over, I was talking with him, and I asked him specifically, I'm like, I know my role here isn't it's not very universal among a lot of dealerships. Not many people have a person who kind of specializes in sort of the internet department. And I need to know right now, when you're taking over, is my job secure? And he tells me, don't worry about it, because we'd actually worked before. He was a representative for another company that we'd work for, and he's like, don't worry about it. I know you guys. You don't have to worry about anything. Everything's gonna be cool. So I was like, okay. That made me feel better about this change of management. I don't think I actually talked anything about this previously, because maybe I just didn't bring it up. I hoped that it wasn't going to be an important factor. So over the past couple months or so, this new guy had been changing my role from doing less of the sales and marketing stuff, which I really enjoyed doing, to doing more administrative stuff, which I honestly really did not enjoy doing. So it was becoming more and more clear that I just wasn't happy at that job. And the more my role changed, the less happy I actually became. And maybe they picked up on that or something. But I think actually 10 days ago exactly, or about 10 days ago, they decided that they were gonna lay me off, and they didn't need a guy with my skills anymore. And again, it's kind of a bittersweet moment, because I expressed before that I wasn't satisfied with the direction things were going there, and I was actually becoming more and more upset, more and more depressed about the whole situation. But on the other hand, it was a real blind side to me. Like, I had no idea that this was coming. I got along very well with all my coworkers. Me and the new manager, we had a great relationship. It was just really, really came out of left field, and I wasn't prepared for it in any way, shape, or form. And that's the part about this whole thing that really upsets me the most, is that I feel really lied to. Like, if we had that conversation 3 months ago, and he kind of laid out what the deal really was, which was, listen, I'm just taking over. I'm evaluating everything. I can't guarantee anything right now. So that's the situation we're in. I would have understood that, and I would have respected that. But instead, that's not what I got. And based on that, I made decisions that I otherwise wouldn't have, and kind of worked off a whole false pretenses there. And that's one of the hardest parts about this whole thing, is not letting that anger overtake you and completely override all your decision making. Because I've always felt, if you spent this whole time, kind of feeling sorry for yourself and kind of feeling angry about what happened, then you're still giving all the power over to that object in your life, and letting it continue to control you and continue to mess up your life's direction. And that's not the kind of person I want to be, and that's not the kind of way I want to live my life. And fighting that, especially in this kind of early stages where things are very uncertain, I don't know what's going to happen, is extremely difficult. You know, they say in Japanese culture, the most noble animal of all is the carp, because every day the carp struggles against all the currents and struggles to get ahead. But when it's its time on the chopping block, it serenely accepts its fate the way that it is. And I was thinking about this, and that anger that I just talked about, that's what's easy. That's the easy reaction, and it's kind of the easy path to go. What's difficult is to accept what happened and try and move forward and make something better. And now I understand, I guess, why they believe the carp is so noble. So that's kind of like my segue into what's been happening the last couple days that I really wanted to take some time to spend with kind of just myself, because it's something I really didn't get a lot of time to do while I was working, and kind of just see where my thoughts lie, try and work through what's going on, and figure out what the path forward is gonna be. And also, the whole thing was pretty shocking. So there was that sort of element there. Wish you could see my hands. I'm making lots of hand motions, but the camera doesn't go down far enough to actually see them. But anyway, so as I was saying, there's just a kind of whole shock element. So there was a couple days where I was just kind of in this bewildered, shell shock state. So I'm going to make a Stalin comparison here, because one of these video logs wouldn't be like without a Stalin comparison. So the last 10 days, I think, were kind of like when Stalin found out that the Germans had invaded Russia in World War II, where he just kind of went off the radar for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it was. And I'm sure I must have gone through some of the same things he did. A couple nights of drunken stupors, a couple moments of really dark, brooding moments. But eventually, he got his shit together and came out and put on a strong face. And that's not to say that my previous work was anything like Nazi Germany or anything like that. Everyone I met there was a great person, and I'm sure I've made some lifelong friends in my tenure there. So don't get me wrong on that count. So the question is, what happens now? Obviously, I start the job hunt again. I could easily get a job at another dealership. I feel like whether or not it would be the job I want at another dealership is a much more open question. I have mixed feelings to working in the automotive industry again. I don't know if I necessarily want to do it, but you understand that you do things in your life that you don't necessarily want to do, and you make sacrifices to support your family. But that's definitely a door I'm keeping open. But if for whatever reason, I decide not to go through there, I want to take some time and I want to make a video log where I really talk about everything that I learned in my tenure at the automotive industry. What are the appropriate things to say in a negotiation for a new car, how to get the best deals, those sort of things. So, people can know what exactly they're dealing with, because I had the opportunity to really touch on every single part and every aspect of the sales process while I was there. So I learned a lot about how selling a car is kind of really done. I've also been looking into sort of marketing positions and management positions and that sort of thing. I've also really been thinking about the idea of going back to school. I really like to get my MBA, and I'd like to get all my schooling done sooner rather than later. So this might be the good opportunity that I have to go back to school and get that done. But more than anything, I really do want to start my own business, I feel like, because this whole experience has taught me not to rely on someone else for, your income. You should rely on yourself. There's also that kind of inherent value and excitement when it comes to the idea of working for yourself, right? That every dollar you make, even if you're doing something that's crappy, is something that you've earned and it doesn't belong to anybody else. And that to me is extremely appealing. And I know no matter what you do, you're always reliant on someone else for your income, right? Because even if you start your own business, obviously people need to pay you for your goods or your services or what have you. But the way I feel is, let's say you've got a business to business model or something like that, and one of your clients drops out, that's not the end of the world. You still have a client base that you can draw revenue off of until you have the opportunity to find someone new. So, if I were to wave a magic wand, that's the road I'd head down. Have to decide, whether or not that's the best road, whether or not I can risk doing something like that right now. We'll have to see. But I've got lots of ideas, some very conventional, some crazy, some involving drones. But I don't want to say anything until I've got something a little bit more concrete. In the short term, however, I'm doing some website development and work for a friend of mine, so that'll help me, pay the bills for the next month or so, as well as I've got a couple other little things that are going on. So I'm not worried right now. I've got enough savings and enough income to make sure that I'm not going to be destitute on the streets or anything like that. So 6 months down the road, if things are still the same, that's when panic mode really starts. Not so much in panic mode right now. So, the things are good there. I'm not gonna become homeless or have to eat out dumpsters or anything like that. And then there's the channel. I'm ready to start recording again, and there's probably going to be a whole lot more recording than usual. I did not feel up to recording the last couple days, but now I'm definitely ready to get back in the swing of things. One of the life lessons I learned from my work is that I did give a lot to that job, and I guess I wish I hadn't have given so much. There were things that I neglected while I was at work. I lost friends because I just didn't have the time to maintain those kind of relationships. So my social life suffered. The channel suffered. I didn't have enough time to record as I would have liked to, and I didn't have enough time to implement the kind of ideas that I was having and the kind of things that I wanted to do. And next time, I'm going to have to make sure that I don't let something like that consume me, because those things are temporary, and things like this are much more long term. So there you go. That's pretty much everything. Actually, no. I just realized something. Here I am saying like, oh, we're gonna do all this great stuff. I might actually be gone some more, because Jasmine and I need to go down to the United States shortly, because we're on the verge of finishing our paperwork. And once we send the paperwork off to the government of Canada, Jasmine actually can't leave Canada. So we want to take the time to have one last big trip where we get some errands done. There's some stuff she needs to collect down there, for immigration. But of course, it's might be our last time to visit her parents for a long time. So we want to make sure that we have that opportunity. Needless to say, it would probably be a pretty long trip. We're thinking maybe 2 weeks in the States. The only thing that's really keeping us back is we're not sure what to do with the cats, really. We don't want to leave them here alone for 2 weeks, so we might have to have my parents babysit them. But we'll see. It's a trip we have to take, especially before we hand in this paperwork, because that shuts the door until it's all finished. So it's got to happen in the near future. I want to do it sooner rather than later. She wants to do it a little bit later than I do, but you guys will know when I'm going to be out for another little bit of time. But there you go. That's just one of those things that needs to happen. So there you go. Now I've officially reached the end of the video log. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Sorry to lay a lot of heavy stuff on you, but you guys should know what's going on, and that's just about the most thorough update I could possibly give. So until next time, this has been Stalin signing off for now, and you guys take care.